she turned it up about 5 minutes ago. Do you want to, she says give it a check.
Testing, testing, testing. Test, test.
Hi, Gary.
Test, test, test.
Hey,
Test, test. Testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. Test, test.
I will just call you cool friend. Okay, I'll call you Pete. One.
Urging you off of your panties. We're telling those lies. It's really not wise to harm our Mother Earth. We're just a gaggle of grannies, urging you off of your panties. We're telling those guys it's really not wise to harm our Mother Earth. We're just a gaggle of grannies, urging you off of your panties. We're telling those guys it's really not wise to harm our Mother Earth.
Good evening.
Is that one working? Is that my question? Yeah. What?
Oh.
You go around.
Come this way. Don't start walking. Just watch where you're going. You got cords underneath your feet.
Got cords off that one. Perfect. You're great now.
Go, girl.
Okay, ready?
Okay, this earth. Nobody's going to introduce it? All right.
Okay, go. Introduce the participation.
This our earth, this earth is your earth, all life around us on land and sea, all good and blossom, nature is awesome, this land is made for you and me. We'll fight for justice, we'll stand together to heal the earth, we'll start to rise, clean air, clean water, with wind and solar. This earth is ours, no compromise. This earth is our earth, this earth is our earth, all around us, on land and sea, all trees and blossom, nature is awesome. This earth is home for you and me. With all first peoples and all newcomers, our strength is in diversity. We come together to help each other. This earth is home for you and me. This earth is our earth, this earth is your earth, and life around us on land and sea. All trees and blossom, nature is awesome. This earth is home for you and me. This earth is home for you and me.
One more.
We're the Raging Grannies, and we welcome you tonight, and this song invites you to participate.
Yes.
So listen and follow along. We need you.
If you're voting and you know it, clap your hands. If you're voting and you know it, clap your hands. If you're voting and you know it, then results will surely show it. If you're voting and you know it, clap your hands. If you want stronger healthcare, clap your hands. If you want stronger healthcare, clap your hands. If you care about our healthcare, you better put the funds there. If you want stronger healthcare, clap your hands. If the housing costs are rising, shout, oh no, oh no! If the housing costs are rising, shout, oh no, oh no! If the rents are climbing higher, housing costs are rising, shout, oh no, oh no! If the climate's getting worse, stomp your feet, stomp your feet. If the climate's getting worse, stomp your feet, stomp your feet. Let's choose leaders who take action, or we're facing bad reactions. If the climate's getting worse, stomp your feet. If you truly love our country, elbows up, elbows up. If you truly love our country, elbows up, elbows up. So now's the time to show it. So vote and let them know it. If we truly love our country, elbows up, elbows up. If you're voting and you know it, clap your hands. If you're voting and you know it, clap your hands. If you're voting and you know it, the results will surely show it. If you're voting and you know it, clap your hands.
I'll take that other microphone.
Yeah, don't take it up here. This one? All of it. Okay. Awesome, thank you.
Would our candidates for this evening please come to the front? Our candidates are both federal candidates for the federal election 2025.
I don't want anybody to stand in front of it.
That's
It's gonna play the open. Maybe if they're like cut over here.
Maybe they can come over here and then I can see Tom. Oh, we're just gonna ask if you can just sit over here for us until after all candidates.
Just don't want your ears to be close.
Hi, Jeffrey. Can I ask you to stand over there until after all candidates?
Thank you.
gathered tonight on the ancestral lands of the Chinantran, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee people. Our treaty is the Between the Lakes Treaty number 3 with the Mississaugas of the Credit, and it was one of the earlier treaties from 1792. Without question, tonight we will be exploring issues that span our country, concerns over sovereignty, economics, health, and environment. And as we explore these, let's be reminded that through colonization of First Nations people, through bloodshed and legal and political pretense, we displaced and continue to displace other nations for our colonial benefit and profit. And now we wonder, in light of recent changes of political winds, if this will be Canada's new destiny. Although we cannot change the past, we can build a better, more inclusive future for all. When I was contemplating this evening's land acknowledgement, I was reminded of the lesson of the great peacemaker, Tekanawida. A legend tells the story of how he brought 5 of the Iroquois nations together after decades of conflict. His lesson of unity was shown by first taking one arrow and breaking it, and then taking one arrow from each of the 5 Haudenosaunee nations, bundling them together and holding them up to prove that they could never be broken when they're bundled. Let's consider the wisdom of the Haudenosaunee nations and work in reciprocity, even with our differences, to build a Canada that can be home for all. Would you please rise now, if you're able, and join Pan Chamberlain in the singing of our national anthem. Guelph-Wellington Coalition for Social Justice, and we are your hosts this evening. Our nonpartisan coalition is a collective of representatives from over 23 community groups who stay connected to understand and support each other's efforts. We coordinate the big umbrella table at the Guelph Farmers Market, and you're invited to join us there to learn a little bit more about us, or check us out on our website. You'll see a list of our membership groups posted near the doors and certainly on our table at the back. welcome to our candidates attending this evening. I should ask you now to please take your seat. Well, we're very fortunate in this riding to have outstanding candidate choices. And a special thanks to each of you for what you've already done to benefit our community and for the courage it takes to put your name on the ballot. We are very grateful for your efforts and your time. Also, to the audience, I want to make sure if you know someone who's at home who would like to have been here but is unable, we are live streaming tonight. We weren't sure it was going to work until earlier this afternoon. But there is a link and some of the little papers if you want to send that out in a text or something, or over on our table, over by our retired teachers table. I'm so pleased with the attendance tonight. It sends a message that voters in Guelph really want to be engaged. Do you know that we had above average voter turnout at the provincial election? 52%. And that Waterloo did really well too in Cambridge. We all had high scores compared to the provincial average, which was about 45%. That is something to celebrate. And there's lots to be engaged about too. Just look around the perimeter of this room. If you haven't had a chance to check out the community groups that are here tonight, be sure to linger at the end of this formal part of the evening. If you want to be more connected to community and work with others towards something you're passionate about, your answer could be in this room tonight. Just a little heads up, we will be passing a basket this evening. If you're able to help us with event costs, this would be greatly appreciated. Member groups and individuals have helped to support this evening's event, and their logos have been added to the membership posters you'll see when you leave the side of the door. But I would like to especially thank Arts Everywhere, Ontario Public Interest Research Group, Transit Action Alliance Guelph, Guelph Climate Action Network, Guelph District Labour Council, and Ontario English Catholic Teachers Association for helping us as well. Thank you so much. And also, if you did want to hear our candidates on another occasion, Open Sources will be doing interviews with all of the candidates, and has already done some, and they're in the archives. And these will be on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on CFRU. I do have one reminder for our audience tonight, that I hope everyone will enjoy this evening, and our goal is to offer all of Guelph residents an opportunity to engage with candidates on the issues that matter to them the most. We wish to create a respectful, inclusive, and informative space where democracy can thrive, and ask that all in attendance are respectful. Well, with no further ado, I'm very excited to introduce our moderator for this evening, Marva Bailey Wisdom. Marva is a respected and passionate leader in public policy, equity, and inclusion. She is the co-director of the International Arts Everywhere Festival, an annual event held in Guelph that fosters meaningful conversations and creative engagement in indigenuity, in climate change, and social justice. And if you haven't already picked up a little flyer that was brought tonight somewhere on chairs, there may be still a few left at the door when you leave. Margaret also serves as president-elect of the Rotary Club of Guelph, a senior fellow at the Monk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy at the University of Toronto, a fellow at the Environetics Institute for Research, Survey Research, where she's helped lead the Black Experience Project, a groundbreaking study examining the lives of Black communities in the Greater Toronto Area. Margaret is a published author and has contributed to the award-winning book, collecting courage, joy, pain, freedom, and love. Marva's numerous recognitions include YMYWCA's Women of Distinction Award and the Order of Ontario. Please welcome Marva Bishop Wisdom.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. Isn't she awesome? She's the lead organizer for all of this. And I want you to give a round of applause, not only to the singing of O Canada, but the way you sang it, the passion that you felt. I don't think I've been in a room of ordinary folks where O Canada was so rousing and strong and singing together. It does give me great pleasure to be here with you tonight. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
And I know there are a number of people standing at the back. If you have a seat beside you, I'm going to ask you to put your hand up as if you were in church or synagogue or a mosque or a temple. Put your hand up so that somebody back there that needs a seat, if you're aging like I am, then your knee goes out after a little while. So if you keep your hand up so that folks can come up and sit beside you and you'll get cozy here tonight. Well, tonight is not just about politics. And that was your first test, that you actually did really listen, and you did put your hand up, and folks did come from the front. So you're going to do the same for the rest of the evening, right? Yes? So that everybody can have a chance to share into tonight's participation. It's a chance to listen. It's a chance to ask hard questions, to reflect on the kind of future that we want to co-create together. Elections are about choices, and informed choices require dialogue, accountability, and trust. And these amazing folks who put themselves forward, it is not easy to decide to become a candidate. It's not easy to make that decision. It's family, it's friends, it's every other person that you know that has an opinion whether you should or shouldn't. And even then, you have to work on balancing that. So our hats off to all of you who have put your name forward and put yourselves out there to be the voice for Guelph, to make a difference, to contribute to your community, especially in this difficult time. So please give them a hand. I must say that as your moderator, I'm here to ensure that each candidate has a fair, respectful, and equal opportunity to share their vision, within time limits, of course. I did the provincial debates, and I am a stickler to ensure that the timing is kept. So I'm going to ask folks to temper their questions and also the answers as we go along, because we have 2, 4, 6. The provincial was only 4 folks, and now we have 6, which means that it's going to take more time. And we want to get through as many questions as possible. And if there are anyone in the audience who have things that they want to say and it's not within the context or the confines of the structure that we've created here, we would work on finding a way that you could perhaps ask it of the candidates after, rather than an outburst. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So that everybody can hear. And so I'm going to walk you through the format tonight. The format tonight, the candidates will introduce themselves, they'll share their vision, and each of them have a maximum of 1 minute and 30 seconds. And we have the time warning here. We're gonna, we have a yellow card.
No pressure,
Tanya? Tanya, could you please come up so that we can have 2 cards, one with the time of warning, and there's Tanya. Tanya's coming. You don't have to be by yourself, no. And then we're going to have questions from the membership. You heard the membership group that is here that makes up the Guelph Social Justice Coalition. And we'll read some of those questions, but we won't get through all of them. I know that with certainty. And the candidates have 1 minute to respond to those questions. While we're doing that, members of the group will gather questions from you as the broader audience. Of course, some questions will be duplicated or pretty close to being replicated. So someone is sorting through and making sure that we are going to have the broadest number of questions on the broadest subject test, if you're fine with that. And I think that is something that will work quite well for all of us. And then the candidates will have 30 seconds at the end of the evening to make concluding statements. I know that in the past we've had rebuttals. If we have time and we're really well behaved, we might be able to do some rebuttals tonight. We'll do our best. And if we're ready to go, are we ready? All right. I'm going to ask in order. The time warning is at 15 seconds, and so that they know it's time to wrap up and then to stop. So I'm going to ask in order. Red right here, but red is not here, so I'm going to do this, right? Elaine is not here. Okay. Elaine Bates is not here, so I'm just putting this down, just in case there are supporters of Elaine here. Elaine is not here, I'm not ignoring her. She's not hiding. And so then I'm going to start with Janice on this side and then work all the way down to Henry. And Janice, if I can ask you for your opening remarks, you have 1.5 minutes to start. There is a mic.
Yep. I mean, my voice is normally loud.
Sorry, who's starting?
Janice. Thanks, Maria. This is Maria.
Yay, Maria. Thank you, Maria. Are we on? Hello? Good evening, everyone. My name is Janice Folk-Dawson. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a settler, an injured worker with a permanent disability, and a socialist. My partner and I have rented and raised our son in Guelph for 39 years. I worked at the University of Guelph, was the Labour Council President, and the Executive Vice President of the Ontario Federation of Labour, building my skills as a negotiator, a facilitator at all levels of government. This election is in a dangerous time in Canada and the world. I see the rise of fascism, tariffs, and trade war as issues on top of climate, jobs, health, housing, and food insecurity that we must address. We need to elect a governing body that defends democracy and enhances our social safety net. The NDP has pushed to expand healthcare. We will make life more affordable by building accessible, affordable homes, cap grocery prices, remove GST from essentials, and offer victory bonds so that we can invest in the infrastructure of our country. The NDP is the party taking care of workers, their families, and their communities. We need to have the NDP continue to be the conscience of our government, making gains for working families. Guelph has the opportunity to be part of the balance of power by electing Janice Folk-Dawson as MP for the riding of Guelph.
Hello everybody, good evening to you all, thank you for being here. My name is Gerger Kara, and I'm of course going to be the next Member of Parliament for our beloved riding of Guelph. Oh, so sorry about that, Janice.
It's Dominic.
Dominic, sorry. I'm a I'm a proud resident of the riding, and in my 7-year history with this city, I've connected with thousands of Guelphites. I have an education that was focused on public policy. I actually got it right here at the University of Guelph, where I graduated with distinction with a degree in criminal justice and public policy. In that time, written over 60 essays specifically on federal public policy, and I followed through with this in law school, where I received formal legal training. I've always believed and I've always said that the person who has the best knowledge in public policy is in the best position to be able to make those decisions to bring an effective and positive change to the community. My goal will always be to make life more affordable, reduce crime, and bring safer streets back into Guelph. I believe that people know how to spend their money better than the government knows how to spend their money. I believe the individual should be able to do whatever they please so long as they don't harm others, and I believe in a small government, not any bloated big government. So I hope I will be able to earn your vote as the next MP for Guelph. Once again, please vote Gerger Kara, and thank you. Sorry, Dominique, for spilling water all over you.
Good evening, bonsoir. Oh, sorry, is it on? Yeah. Good evening, bonsoir. Tonight, Canada is facing extraordinary threats to our sovereignty and to our economy. We need bold climate action, and we need to address important concerns around the cost of living. Canadians need serious, responsible government with an integrated plan. Trump's tariffs are hitting home hard, and Guelph is one of the most vulnerable cities in Canada. A Liberal government under the proven leadership of Mark Carney will fight for our economy and our sovereignty, protect and support our workers, and build a more prosperous Canada that works for and includes everyone. A Liberal government will make progress on climate and stimulate the economy through historic investments. A Liberal government will protect programs that help with the cost of living, like childcare, dental care, and farm care. I have a 30-year track record of government relations, of communications in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors nationally and locally. I came to Guelph in 1997 to work for the Cooperators, first in public relations and ultimately as the Director of Public Affairs. I run a small communications firm and have written national reports on youth, belonging, and well-being. Since 2018, I'm a city councillor, fighting every day to build a better city, more housing, more long-term care beds, support for the unhoused, help for small business, climate action, and accountability. I have a very deep understanding of Guelph's needs and our opportunities. I'm ready to be a strong bilingual voice for you in Ottawa, so vote O'Rourke, for Team Carney, for Guelph, and for Canada.
That's all right.
Just before you get
Get started. Before you get started, I just wanted to share, we have a little water spill on the table for those who with ice. So Dominique was dealing with trying to avoid the water spilling on her notes, and so we had to bring some cloth here. It's the other hat that I wear.
Take care of us.
There we go.
So sorry about that.
Okay.
Thank you. All set?
Yes.
We're all set. Thank you. And if you could
project as much,
if you could project as much as you can, that would be wonderful.
Okay. My fellow Canadians, how much longer will we stand idle while our country is torn, twisted, and burdened beyond recognition? They promised us immigration would build our future, and yes, we welcome the world with open arms, with proud hearts. But now we must ask ourselves, at what cost? Our cities strain under pressure. Our housing scarce, our wages stagnant, our young forgotten. Louder. Is it not on?
It's probably not on.
They don't usually turn it on unless we're one of the major parties.
Let's remember that there are other folks, and the more we interject in that way, the more time we take away from the candidates. I apologize for that. Did you want to come up here, Jeffrey, and speak?
I appreciate that. I
Come
would.
on up. Yeah.
Thank you.
Testing.
You got it working?
Okay. Well, I don't know what happened there, but anyways, I'll start now. As I said, my fellow Canadians, how much longer will we stand idle while our country is stripped, torn, and burdened beyond recognition? They promised us immigration would build our future, and yes, we welcome the world with open arms, with proud hearts. But now we must ask ourselves, at what cost? Our cities strain under pressure, our housing scarce, our wages stagnant, our young forgotten. The economy trembles, and they say it is temporary. Temporary. Is it temporary when families must choose between rent or food? Is it temporary when small businesses collapse while billion-dollar corporations are bailed out? We are the workers. We are the builders. We are the backbone of this country, and they have forgotten us. And why? Because those in Ottawa, those cloaked in power, swollen in privilege, have forgotten who they serve. They watch us, they regulate us, they tax us, and they silence us. We say we are Canadians. We say Canada is not your playground. Canada is not your experiment. Canada is our home. We demand sanctity. We demand security. We demand sanity. This is our nation, our legacy, and our right to rise. So I say, rise, Canada, rise. Not with fear, but with fire. Not with weakness, but with strength. Because when a government forgets its people, it is the duty of the people to remind the government who holds true power. We are Canadians, and we will be heard.
Thank you. Michael, can you check the mic for me, please?
Testing, testing. Yes. Is it working?
Yes.
Is it working? No, it's
Okay, please come on up here. Mike, there are folks.
Most Canadians aren't. Okay.
Yeah. So.
The reason why I put the shofar, it's a warning. Danger. Danger lies ahead. And this election here is probably, if not the most important election we've ever had in this country. And first of all, I'd like to say, I'm so happy to be here in the Italian-Canadian Club. My mother and her family, they come from Calabria, the mafia. So I'm at home. And then I'd like to also say that it's very little time to speak, so I brought posters instead of using words. They're all written there. You can see my history. You can see my credentials. I spent 40 years outside of Maple Leaf Gardens and was best friends with King Clancy and Mr. Ballard. And I've done more deals probably than anybody in Canada, maybe the world. So the problem with our country, oh, by the way, first and foremost, I'm sorry, Lord, I wanted to thank you that I'm here today. Thank you, Father, in your mighty name, Jesus. I declare that's who I am. And I got a warning. Okay, thank you. So anyways, we just roll into the United States, take the tanks and bulldoze them down. Yeah, right? No. Send somebody here that can negotiate. I can make the deal with Trump. No problem.
Marie, you can come up here or that mic.
Testing.
It's not right. Not
Anne-Marie's coming up. We'll try to figure out, sort out the mic, maybe someone can figure that out in the newsroom.
So to ask for Cameron.
Call Cameron to the mic.
Calling Cameron to the mic.
Okay, there he is.
We need you, Cameron. Hi, everybody. I'm Anne-Marie Zalek from the Green Party. I've been a tax and family physician in Guelph for the last 35 years. My greatest triumph was delivering 2,000 babies at the Guelph General Hospital. These millennials are struggling more than my generation ever did. I started treating HIV-positive patients in 1990 and then built HIV clinics in Guelph and Waterloo. These patients suffer under the weight of cruelty, injustice, and prejudice every day. Stephen Lewis introduced me to the great humanitarian crisis caused by HIV in sub-Saharan Africa, where the same injustices led to the rapid spread of HIV, wiping out an entire generation of young people. I started a campaign to raise $1 million in Guelph for an HIV clinic in Lesotho, and we did it. During the COVID-19 pandemic, I wrote daily posts for 2 years. 40,000 people followed. Now it is my community and my country who are suffering, and it is in me to lead and to take care of the lives of others. I've watched our beautiful healthcare system disintegrate. I've watched the gap between the very wealthy and the average Canadian widen, leaving many of them searching for jobs, housing, and food security. It's time to meet the needs of the people in this country again. We must shift the priorities in government to reflect Canada's values. The Green Party of Canada platform is literally a blueprint of this shift.
Thank you, Emery. Thank you, candidates. We're going to start with questions, but we recognize that there's some challenges with the mic, and we want to make sure that everyone can hear. Someone is out trying to scout to see whether we can have a proper working mic. I'm going to ask, I'm just going to start with the questions anyways, and we will start with you.
If you don't mind, we'll start first again, or we could start. Emery, could you check your mic down there and let me see? Can you try it again, please?
Testing, testing.
Switch it up a little bit.
Really?
Testing, testing.
Hello, hello.
You gotta hold it a certain way. Oh.
Testing, testing, testing.
We'll start with you. Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very close.
And hold it as close as you can. But I know as a doctor, you don't want to hold it too close. I understand that. So our first question is from the Seniors for Climate Action Now and Wellington Water Watchers, as well as Kairos, and Guelph Climate Action Network. There are 3 parts to this question, and I'll ask the first part first. Canada's environment is under attack externally and internally. For example, the exploration of our fresh water. This could have substantial impact on our environment and our reconciliation with Canada's Indigenous people. 2, ailing conservation efforts across the nation on land, as well as freshwater and coastal regions. The target dates are in 2025 and very likely will be missed. And 3, increased use of fossil fuels and the cancellation of the consumer carbon tax. Our emissions are down 9% out of our goal of 40% by 2030, and some companies are lobbying for higher limits on production. There's also serious discussion of an east-west pipeline to transport fuel through environmentally sensitive areas such as Northern Ontario. The question then is, what are your party's policies and priorities that will improve Canada's environmental sustainability and strengthen our relationships with Indigenous communities? I'll start with Emery and work our way down. I know it's a long question, but you have 30 seconds to answer. 1 minute each, sorry.
Way to go.
Okay, thank you for the question, Marva. The Green Party probably has the strongest platform for climate change. First and foremost, we must protect our waters and our lands, especially with respect to our Indigenous populations. Don't build, don't take from the land.
don't harm the land, especially if it involves Indigenous people. 3 aspects to climate change that we'll work on: reducing climate emissions rapidly, mitigation and adaptation, that's a big part of our platform, and then strengthening accountability by making sure that governments who set great policies, it carries on to the next government and the government after that, so that newer governments do not take away excellent climate change policies.
Thank you. And over to you. Michael, please.
Yes. Climate change, first of all, I think it's a bunch of garbage. Okay? And, talk about climate change. What was climate change back in the days of Noah? Did they deal with it then? What about Sodom and Gomorrah? You ever thought about that? Climate change? Well, if you check that Dead Sea, you check everything that came down, those chemicals that destroyed all those cities, you can't find one on Earth. Not one. I wouldn't be concerned about climate change. I look at a change in our hearts. Okay? Now, the environment with water, the alien on the lands, well, the government's been selling lands to different countries. Selling it to China all over. And the indigenous, I'll talk about that. I marched with 50,000 of them. In case you're against the Jews, the indigenous...
10 seconds.
Can I have 10 seconds, please? Thank you. The indigenous partnered up with the Jews in Jerusalem, and they put an embassy there, and I'm part of it. Don't throw stones, please.
Well, thank you for that answer. I think we all appreciate it. When it comes to policies and regulations regarding environmental sustainability, my party's biggest thing is putting money into green programs that can be productive and fruitful. We don't want it to be laundered. We don't want to be coerced or pressured by international communities or foreign countries about what we should do. Ultimately, it should benefit Canadians and our environment. My party believes in introducing legislation and consequences regarding pollution, pollution and littering, because those are 2 things that you can see with your own 2 eyes that require no debate.
Can we stop for a moment? Yeah.
We'll stop for a moment and figure what that is, Corey.
I didn't know I was buzzing like that.
I told you there's danger ahead.
Cameron, can you see you there for a moment, please?
You're not them. We didn't touch it. So what do you do? Because I picked it out,
You might have better ones. Check it out.
What makes sense?
It's hard to get up and to come to the here. He's using my mic too.
Oh, but are you done? Okay.
Yes, it was.
No, you get 15
No, just
Well, no, it's okay. It's whatever everyone else would like.
15 seconds.
You get your time first?
Yes.
Well, I think I'm all right. I think we'll move on. That's
Where did I
okay.
put the thing?
Now, before you start, let me just suggest something so that we have less disruptions. If the mic acts up again, I'm going to ask the candidates permission to just come up and use this microphone. It was an issue. Our rotary meets here at ICC, and the system sometimes doesn't work very well. So I do fully understand that. I am sorry to say that. It's a lovely space, and we've been meeting here for many years. So if you are supposed to come up, Dominique, please feel free to do that. Just come up as you're comfortable. I just don't want that sound again. Can you turn that mic off?
Is there someone has an electronic item in the back?
Yeah, it's not the mic.
It's the mic.
Hello.
It's not the mic doing that. Somebody's rattling something.
This is our new government.
Someone has something on, if I can ask the team to,
What's happening?
is that off? Can I identify what that is so it doesn't happen again? Have we identified what that is? Test, test.
Test, test,
Test.
test, test, 1, 2, 3. Oh my God. Okay, so that wasn't, it's working well, but until it doesn't.
Test, test.
Test, 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 test. All right.
Oh, except I need a little bench to stand on.
We'll be good with it.
Is the mic on?
We won't. Yes.
No, that one.
Oh, you know what we could do? We could just try it this way, stand here.
That's all right, this way, all right.
Okay.
Okay.
How about now?
Okay. Close, too close, not close enough. Okay. So I moved to Guelph in 1997 to work for the cooperators and got to learn about global reinsurers. They're not woke. They know climate change is real. They know that severity and frequency of storms is occurring. You know who else knows climate change is real? Mark Carney. He devoted a massive section of his book on values to climate action, and he's was the UN Special Envoy on Climate. No single party has a monopoly on climate action. This year, Canada had its lowest emissions in the past 27 years outside of the pandemic. The climate plan is working. The climate plan is working here in Guelph, as we see through federal investments in electric buses, greener homes, and a circular food economy. This week, a number of policy announcements were made, and just to get to water, including Indigenous stewardship, including protection of land and water, and to enshrine First Nations rights to water into law.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hopefully this is working well. Can you hear me? Okay, awesome. Yeah, so climate change is real, and I think the Conservative Party has a plan that really takes action. We believe in action and not in taxation to address this issue. The Conservative Party has vowed to support emission caps on pollutants like nitrogen oxide and sulfur dioxide. We support stringent vehicle fuel efficiency standards and exhaust emission standards. We also will adopt a pan-Canadian low-carbon aluminum purchasing provisions, and also we will be investing into carbon capture technology. Under the Liberal government, we have seen the City of Montreal dump 8 billion liters of raw sewage into the St. Lawrence River, and in 2017 alone, we saw municipalities across the country dump 215 billion liters
of raw sewage into their rivers and lakes. We'll end this practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Guervere.
I'm gonna try this one. Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
So climate crisis is real. On a daily basis, people are losing their jobs, losing their communities, and it's a result of the climate crisis that's happening. As Team Canada addresses this, one of the important voices that's missing is the Indigenous voice. So we talk about nationalization. We're not going back to the promises that we made in reconciliation to make sure that we were getting informed prior consent before we did anything with resourcing the minerals and the water that we have in this country. Clearly, electrification is the way forward for us in Canada, and that would create great new green jobs for people, and we need to tie that to the education process of where we're getting that. Victory bonds are a great way to invest in our infrastructure, and that includes water and water on Indigenous land.
Thank you, Janice. A moderator is never afraid of a mic, but I'm afraid of this one. Okay, we're on to the next question. And we will start with Mike responding to it and then work our way down. Mike is ready. And the next question. It is estimated that poverty costs more than $80 billion per year and that 8.4 million Canadians are food insecure. The Parliamentary Budget Officer estimates that a basic income program based on the Ontario pilot could be delivered for between $3.5 to $5 billion per year and cut poverty by 40%. This is far less expensive than the tax cuts promised by the parties, which will benefit even the highest income earners. The question then is, what are your party's policies concerning the timely implementation of a federally initiated basic income, and what is your party's poverty reduction strategy?
Okay, I'm not with the party, first of all. Then I gotta tell you, I can't make you any promises at all. Because anybody that's gonna make you any promises at this table or tell you what they're gonna do, they're lying. They can't do it. And anybody can speak about that and try to defend it if you like. But anyways, all they're doing is emptying your pockets. Can't you people realize that? Don't you people understand this carbon tax is just paid to put these lights out and these speed signs and everything else where they just send you the tickets, you don't go to court anymore? You're losing your freedom. And I'm a watchman on the wall. All I can tell you is that you send me in Ottawa, I'm a thorn in their side. And anything that happens here in Ottawa, I'll come here once a month and tell you the laws they're trying to pass. They will not be able to pull anything over your eyes again. I'll be a thorn in their side. I'm not afraid to speak out.
So I'm sorry, may I ask the question be repeated?
Yes. What are your party's policies concerning the timely implementation of a federally initiated basic income, and what is your party's poverty reduction strategy?
Okay, well, thank you for repeating that. My party does not support raising the basic federal income. As nice as it sounds, as much as people may enjoy it, when we saw the minimum wage increase 10 years ago, I think a lot of minimum wage workers would think they would be wealthier, they would have more money. But ultimately, they were laid off because employers were not able to pay the increased wages of every single worker. In addition to that, the expenses and the costs of a lot of basic things went up way beyond the minimum wage increase. What my party would support, would advocate for, in favor of a minimum wage increase, federal basic income, is reducing personal income tax, reducing capital gains tax, and ultimately not extending tax credit to special interest groups, aka lobbyists. That is all.
All right. In the last Parliament, it was Liberal MPs who proposed legislation that called for the development of a national strategy for a guaranteed basic income. At Council, I supported Councillor Klassen's motion last fall to support UBI and asked the federal and provincial governments to take a look at basic income. The problem is, it's the provincial Conservative government that cancelled the basic income pilot, and the provinces would have to agree not to claw back anything that's in a basic income, as they do with other programs. We have basic income, essentially, for seniors. That's GIS and also old age security. So, the Conservatives in the previous government increased the age of eligibility to 67, and the Liberal government brought that down. The Canada Child Benefit by the Liberal government raised more than 300,000 children out of poverty, and 25,000 children in Guelph received that child benefit. So, when we look at addressing poverty, we need to take a look at the federal government's finances, we need to look at the full cost and the integration of all those programs.
Yeah, hey, so to answer this question on affordability, I think it's important to look at the root causes of affordability issues. Where do Canadians struggle to be able to afford the things they need in their daily life? Well, one is housing, second is food, and third is they don't have enough cash in their pockets after they come home from work. The Conservative Party has a real plan to help in this regard. For one, we will axe the GST on the sale of new homes, saving home buyers up to $65,000 on the purchase of their home. Secondly, we have seen the grocery bill just in 2024 shoot up by $700, in a large part due to the carbon tax. The Conservative Party will permanently axe the carbon tax and repeal the law that brings it into force. Thirdly, we have Canadians that are paying outrageous taxes. The Conservative Party's tax cuts will save a single income earner $900 per year in taxes, and a dual income family $1,800 annually. This is how we allow Canadians to keep more in their pockets and get ahead. Thank you.
When we are looking at the issue of poverty, we do need to include food, housing, and transit. What workers need to be able to complete their jobs and to take care of their families. The NDP certainly supports a basic income, but we also know that no one should be legislated into poverty. When you look at OAS, disability benefits, it's below the poverty line. And doubling it in OAS doesn't even bring it to the poverty line. No one should be legislated into poverty. Those benefits should be at the poverty line or above. And along with basic income, we need to cap grocery prices, we need to remove GST from essentials, and we need to improve funding for food banks. We need to support buying local and support our local farms and create good jobs and protect the workers in the agricultural industry.
This is one of the biggest concerns that I found as I've been door knocking and speaking to community members in the last few weeks. There's one person in particular who is disabled who told me that in March of 2026 he has chosen his death date. That is when MAID will be extended to people with mental health disorders. He told me that he cannot afford to live and that his life is not worth living because the support programs available to him keep him well below the poverty line. The Green Party does agree with a guaranteed livable income. It costs $84 billion a year to keep people in legislative poverty. It costs much less to give everyone a guaranteed livable income who needs it.
Tell me where to go next.
You're doing great, Tanya. Thank you. Thank you, candidates, for responding to those two very important questions. We have a few more from the group, but we've started getting some from the audience, so I will start asking you questions now from the audience, and I will ask Jeffrey will be the person to go first this time. And I have found out, I think I solved the mic problem. I'm just saying, I'm not sure. I am discovering, and Cameron could correct me, I have to turn this mic off for that to work properly. It seems.
Oh, you should be good now.
No, he says I should be good. Well, I've been doing that, and it's worked for me. Just need a little humor in here. So thank you very much for your patience, everyone, and thank you, candidates, also for rolling along with things as they go. We know things are not always perfect, but we work together to try to find solutions to issues that sometimes we don't even realize we have. So thank you again, candidates. The first question that I have from our audience starts with, Canada has only paused the issuance of new permits for direct military exports to Israel, but continues to supply weapons and weapon components through third-party channels. Meanwhile, Canadian entities also import Israeli-made military and surveillance technologies. Will you support a full and immediate two-way arms embargo on Israel, including ending all direct and indirect arms exports and halting the import of Israeli military technology? That's a big question for the first question, but that's the order that it's in.
What I support is not embargoes. what I support would be a peace deal. Because ultimately, we as Canadians have a reputation to uphold in the international community. We are diplomatic, we are peaceful, we are peacekeepers, we are peacemakers. What we need to do in this awful situation, because death, destruction, murder scourges both sides. What I believe more than anything is that we need to sit down at the negotiation table with both sides and say this needs to end. These are human lives, these are human livelihoods at risk being destroyed. So, that's my answer to the question. I don't support embargoes, I support peace with both sides, reasonably.
So I absolutely concur that the end game really is peace for people in Israel and Palestine, 100%. It's my understanding there are sanctions and an arms embargo is in place. I'm not an expert on any of the detail that was provided in the question. I do know that Canada has suspended export permits for arms being sent to Israel, and we are absolutely supportive of a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. Canada was the first G7 country to provide humanitarian aid. We need to uphold international law, human rights, and dignity. And we need to continue funding UNRWA, which we do. And then when we have this peace, and we need a lasting peace so that people in Palestine and Israel can live side by side, Canada will be there every step of the way on day 2.
Yeah, so I think, look, peace is preferred, especially in all situations when we're dealing with war. But I also believe we need to stand with our allies, especially when they're fighting against a terrorist organization like Hamas that has brought so much death and so much destruction to the region. Killing over 1,200 civilians and then hiding amongst more innocent civilians, bringing death and destruction and kidnapping 250 innocent people is not something that we should support. So I don't support embargoes, I support the rights of all of our allies, whether it's Ukraine or Israel, to be able to defend themselves and live a life in peace. Thank you.
As a peace activist, I've been involved with Palestinian justice since 2005. My party and I recognize the ongoing genocide in Palestine. We have fully endorsed the Vote Palestine platform, which includes imposing a two-way arms embargo on Israel, ending Canadian involvement in illegal Israeli settlements, addressing anti-Palestinian racism, and protecting freedom of expression on Palestine, recognizing the state of Palestine, and providing funding relief efforts in Gaza, including UNRWA.
Okay, so one of the most emotional moments I've had in this campaign is sitting in the living room of friends with 25 Palestinians or people who are related to Palestinians. And it broke my heart. They went around the room and introduced themselves, and by the time they came to me, I was pretty much sobbing. What is happening in Palestine is a genocide. I too and the Green Party supports the Vote Palestine platform. You have to look it up in order to see it, but it's basically an answer to yes to the initial question. This is not a pro-Palestinian issue or an anti-Semitic issue. This is a humanitarian issue. And we need to look at it as if it's a humanitarian issue. It's a genocide.
Go for it.
Well, when I grew up, if your next door neighbor was fighting, we were told to mind your own business. In this country of Canada that I grew up 75 years ago, we didn't go other places picking fights and making decisions. And I noticed you all like war, because very few of you clapped when Jeffrey spoke about peace. Talk about hate. Do I really, you think I'm looking for your vote? I'm just telling you the truth. And all I can say is that I hate evil and I'm willing to protect anybody that's an underdog. I don't care who you are. My father said we all bleed the same color.
Right on.
And as far as your medication is concerned, you know what I don't understand? We're giving them needles, we're giving them everything else. But what about these people that are confused and they don't even know what gender they are and they don't even know the ABCs? Can I get a hand or a boo?
We don't want hate here.
Say it again.
Time.
No hate here.
Time. Thank you. Remember, if you have questions for the person on the podium, when you yell, it doesn't help the conversation. You can ask them afterwards. That would be very helpful. Thank you. Thank you, candidates. We have another question, and the next question goes to Dominique. Dominique, how will your party protect workers from the attacks from the Trump administration due to tariffs, and what will your government do to ensure workers are not left behind?
First, we need to protect our sovereignty, our jobs, and our industries. That's number one. Second, we need to expand our economic opportunity and our markets. So protect those jobs in the first place. Mark Carney in his book Values talks about supporting workers. And he was thinking of it when he wrote the book in terms of artificial intelligence and workers being displaced. So this is a different context, but a same impact. So today, the Liberal Party announced a new benefit to help workers access and afford new skills training in the middle of their careers. That builds on previous commitments with respect to apprenticeship grants, up to $8,000, an increase in action to union-led training initiatives. But we're also going to see massive investment in infrastructure and in clean energy. So first is to stave off the attack, protect the industries, and then build our own and protect our people. We want to get to an economy that works for people and not the other way around.
Yeah, thank you for the question. And when it comes to tariffs, my family has been personally impacted by tariffs. My mother works at a food processing plant, and the second shift at her workplace has been entirely cut. So you can probably understand the turmoil this has brought to my own family. And I think the Conservative Party has the best plan to address these issues. For any potential reciprocal tariffs and any new deals negotiated with the United States, we'll put almost every penny from the proceeds of this action into tax relief, with a sum set aside for targeted relief to workers hit hardest by U.S. tariffs, because we believe it is the workers that are on the front lines against this fight against tariffs. Thirdly, when it comes to the Liberal Party's track record on this, Mark Carney has been endorsed 3 separate times by Donald Trump as of right now. And he moved the headquarters of one of our largest corporations, Brookfield Investments, to New York 6 days after Trump first threatened us with tariffs. That's not Canada First. The Conservative Party is Canada First. Thank you.
We're hearing on a daily basis the effects of tariffs on workers, the job losses that are happening across this province, and particularly in Guelph, Kitchener, Waterloo, and Windsor, is absolutely extraordinary. The NDP is working with Team Canada on reciprocal tariffs, but I point out again, the Indigenous voice is missing from that Team Canada. We need to figure out how to protect the workers that are losing their jobs. We need a robust EI system that covers some of the income loss that is going to happen, because when that income comes out of our family table or out of our communities, it has a big impact on everybody. We need to also think about retraining. We need to have an industrial strategy that's tied to our education, so that we're increasing opportunities and pathways to retrain those workers so that they can get good green jobs.
Canada sells 75% of its exports to the United States, and sources 33% of its imports from the United States. High tariffs are going to cause economic upheaval not seen in generations. While we're reimagining the Canadian economy, and we have to reimagine it in so many ways, we also need to protect the members of our community. There is a need, I think, to strengthen and improve the resilience of all the communities across Canada. We also need to strengthen and improve the resilience of our community in Guelph. Janice and I are working on a resistance and resilience group as we speak to bring leaders together to allow us to focus on protecting our community.
Well, tariffs. And how are we going to protect our country from that? Well, you know, everybody's got all the answers, but I haven't heard anybody go to the root of the problem. What's the root of the problem? Does anybody know about a post-nation? Trudeau announced, and you can read it, Google it up. He announced we're going to be a post-nation. You know what that means? We're not going to have any sovereignty. Now, Trump is saying about this 51st state, he's not a stupid man. Well, if you think he's stupid, I challenge anybody here, I'll give you everything I own to beat him in an IQ test. So anyways, the root of the problem is we're going to be a post-nation. Trump knows that. He doesn't want us to be a post-nation. He's our next door neighbor. So he's saying a 51st state, if we don't pay attention to what's going on in this country, we're a bunch of fools. And what's going on, we're going to get locked up, and he's going to protect us. Time. That's why he said that, Time. So we wouldn't be a post-nation.
Time. Thank you. Thanks, Time.
Thank you. And again, I would encourage everyone not to jest or jeer, because every candidate here has been approved by Elections Canada. They've done everything they needed to be here. So keep that in mind. As a first world democracy, we should abstain from that. To answer your question, we need to negotiate, not retaliate when it comes to tariffs. Ultimately, we are totally energy self-reliant. We have everything we need here. We can educate and train people to be able to do these jobs. So, instead of sending our oil to get refined in the States, we should specialize in oil refinery here. That's just one such case. And self-defense comes into question, because the U.S. has the largest military, armed forces in the entire world. We need to update our technology, our equipment, to be able to at least stand a chance against them, because we are worth it and we deserve that. And we need to defend ourselves. That's all.
Yes, we started. I'll give our Kara the first question to you. For next round, this round. Canada has deteriorated in some ways over the past few years. And in your opinion, what are the 2 to 3 things that need to change in Canada? But before you start answering, I just have a couple of announcements to make as all the candidates think about the answer to the question. The hat is going to be passed very shortly. And as well, Jeffrey mentioned applaud in between. Thank you for helping me out there, Jeffrey. I know it's important and you feel very passionate about what is being said and where our country must go. I just ask you to temper. There's nothing wrong sometimes with just gently acknowledging. However, loud uproariousness is a little bit more challenging and takes away more time. So just very gently think about that, okay? Everybody okay with that, yeah? All right, we're done. So Canada has deteriorated in some ways over the past few years. In your opinion, what are the 2 to 3 ways that need change in Canada?
Yeah, first I'd like to discuss, of course, the deterioration of our nation. One of the ways the country has deteriorated is with crime. We have rampant crime across our country, and we have seen a Liberal government that has prioritized bail and not jail for violent offenders, and I think that's unacceptable. I'd like to point to you a case of a man called Miles Sanderson, who killed 11 people and injured 17 more in 2022. He was on release after 59 prior convictions. Had he been in jail instead of being on bail, those precious Canadians would still be alive today. You're seeing violent crime shoot up 50%, car theft up 46%, and human trafficking up 83%. These are unacceptable numbers, and it's no wonder we see deterioration of our nation. Another way we have deteriorated our nation is by economically hampering our provinces and not allowing them to use their natural resources to their fullest. This is why the Conservative Party will repeal Bill C-69, otherwise the No New Development Law, and allow our provinces to unlock the full potential of their natural resources. Thank you.
If I was going to suggest a couple of issues that I think that we need to deal with, it would be that we, as a country, need to come up with an industrial workforce strategy. We need to tie that strategy to our education system and make sure that we're channeling workers into the proper trade or jobs that they want, and that starts in secondary and moves into post-secondary. We need to obviously enhance our health care, make sure that it's fully funded. We were able to add dental care and pharmacare. We need to add much more. We need to make sure that we are including hearing, vision, access to abortion and mental health in our healthcare system. And then we need to build climate-resistant communities that are meeting the green building standards to make sure that we have communities that are going to be sustainable.
.5 million Canadians do not have a family doctor. 3.4 million people in Ontario do not have a family doctor, and in the coming years, as a large cohort of family doctors retire, 1.7 million Ontarians will lose their family doctor. First and foremost, reform the Canada Health Act. It hasn't been reformed since 1984. Make sure that there is a primary care health act so that funds that are given to the provinces are used by the provinces for health care. Second, proportional representation. It's been a decade. The promise was broken. The majority of people who vote for a government, that government should represent the majority. Vote for vote.
First of all, it's all about laws. It's all about laws. It's about judges. It's about police. We're not under any protection. Our laws are perverted. If you're familiar with the word homophobia, I mean, some of you have heard about that. Well, you said you wanted to get rid of the Trudeau government. Well, take a look at the poster. I got it out there. It's his father that brought it in. And that's when he said, he fooled us. We were all happy. Some of you elders will remember this. Said the government has no business being in our bedrooms. And we all cheered that on. And then he changed the law. There's a guy doing 10 years for sodomy. And he got him out of jail. And they came out of the closet. And, by the way, it used to be a death penalty for sodomy. Did you know that? Don't take my word for it. You can research it. So you know what? In our education system, we got these kids hauling other kids around with a chain around, a collar around their neck and a chain, leading them around, and putting a kitty litter in the back room.
Kitty litter box in the back room for the kids.
Okay, Mike?
Yeah.
I do understand that you are answering the question, but each candidate has the exact amount of time, and I wondered if you could try to just respect that time. That would be really helpful. Thank you so much. And over to Jeffrey.
Yeah, it's no
a
problem.
comment.
It's no problem to do that, but you will know that
Excuse me,
this
Mike,
is the third
Mike,
debate, and we haven't been in any of them.
Mike,
the people have been voting.
Mike,
You haven't heard from us.
Mike,
yes.
please be disrespectful to the rest of the candidates here. I really appreciate that.
I'm not used to being told
Jeff?
to go to the back of the bus.
Jeffrey, we're not asking you to go to the back of the bus.
You're telling me to stop.
And I'm not going to argue, but you have 30 seconds, and if you don't wish to participate in that 1 minute limit, just let us know. But everybody is working to be within that time frame, and it makes it a lot easier for everyone. And thank you so much.
How's anybody gonna get
Jeffrey,
to know you in
please
1
go
minute?
ahead.
How are you gonna get to know me in 1 minute?
The 2 to 3 things I see as the biggest changes in Canada would definitely be immigration. I think the way we have it going right now, we need to slow it down. Because when so many people are packed into one province, one country, the cost of living comes up for everyone, immigrants or naturally born citizens alike. It needs to be merit-based, it needs to be based on what they can contribute, what they can give back. The second one would be defense. I believe our defense has gone way down. We used to have the Avro Arrow, we used to be huge, but we gave that up. We decided not to be a global superpower, and here we are. More money, more resources, more manpower into our armed forces. Lastly, our crime in our community. What my party believes is that violent offenders need stronger consequences for committing crimes. And on top of that, when it comes to gun-related crimes, law-abiding citizens should not be held responsible for the crimes of criminals. Anytime you pass a law or regulation, it is the law-abiding citizens who answer for it.
So I'm going to say one of the most concerning things in this country is the narrative that Canada is broken. If it was not for Trump and the tariffs, the IMF said Canada was poised to have the strongest economy in the G7 this year. Another huge challenge then is to fight disinformation. People at the door are saying, I don't know what to believe anymore. And part of that is having a strong democracy. We have one of the strongest democracies in the world that needs to be protected. We need to protect public radio, public television, so that people have the right information, especially in the crisis. It is high time that we reinvigorate Canada's confederation. And if it takes Trump for us to get there, to bring down interprovincial trade barriers, to unite against the US, and to finally have a clear projet de société, they say in French, a project, a vision for Canada, this is it. It's about building infrastructure, a shift to clean energy, and a reaffirmation that Canada will never be the 51st state.
Thank you. Thank you all very much, candidates. Really appreciate that. So we're going to move to another question, and this time it will be to Janice Folk-Dawson, the NDP. The question to you, Janice, is should gun laws be more restrictive if currently 90% of all guns used in crimes used in Toronto come illegally from the United States?
So, I have a direct connection to guns in that I lived in Labrador for a few years, and my family was fed by family members going out and hunting caribou and moose. So I certainly recognize that there's a place in society for guns to happen. For hunters that provide food for their families and Indigenous people, we need to make sure that their guns and access to guns. Is that me?
No, keep going.
Okay. And that their access to guns is not restricted. We do want to stop the creation of ghost guns, importing assault rifles and handguns, and we want to ban assault weapons and paramilitary weaponry in Canada.
This may not be a Green Party answer, but I do agree with banning assault rifles and semi-automatic. But I think if we have more restrictive gun laws, we're going to infringe on the rights of our Indigenous people. Many people in this country, especially people living in the north, use guns, rifles, hunting weapons, to support themselves and to feed themselves and their families. So restrict the guns that cause massive death, but don't restrict the guns that allow a person to make a living.
Yeah, I know about guns. I got shot once. Anyways, as far as guns are concerned, you know, I have a friend of mine that came from Iran, and he was telling me about their pastor. They cut him up into pieces and put him out in the street for preaching the gospel and let everybody have a piece of him who wanted the piece. So I said, you gotta be kidding, this guy's a Christian. I said, why didn't you do something about it? He said, how could we? They took our guns away. So, if they take your guns away, we had guns in this country since the beginning of time. It's not the good people that are using them against people. It's evil people. Keep the laws, put them in jail, and have a good, strong border, and more importantly, have a good foundation in Ottawa. Get the lies out of there and the truth in.
Thank you, Matt.
Well, I'm really not for I'm not one for being redundant. I talked about it already, but the biggest thing we've got to consider is law-abiding gun owners. Because again, whenever you pass laws and regulations, criminals don't care. They operate outside of the law. They break laws, so it does not matter to them. And again, this comes down to self-defense. As it was mentioned before, those living in the north, Northern Ontario, Northern Territories, anywhere. If you're in a rural area, sometimes law enforcement will take 30 plus minutes to get there. If someone's breaking in, if someone is harassing you, if someone's threatening you, sometimes it comes down to defending yourself, using what you have to the best of your ability. And ultimately, again, I'll say it once more, there should be more severe penalties for people who commit gun-related offenses. That's all.
So people know that as a city councillor, I tend to be a centrist, and I look at pros and cons and I make lists and things. So I think absolutely we need stronger controls at the border in order to prevent smuggling of illegal arms. There's quite a shocking story this week that Guelph police made a drug bust and 60 guns were recovered. It's alarming. And guns in people's homes are very dangerous for officers who are responding, especially to cases of intimate partner violence. And this week, or just last week, I'm losing track of the days, the Liberal Party has said there will be immediate removal of guns in situations of intimate partner violence. I don't think there's any room for assault rifles. And I never want to be in a situation like the States where we've got school shootings and gun violence. I will say we should be looking at sports shooters though, people we want to watch in the Olympics who are actually very, very safe, as well as Hunters and Indigenous people.
Thank you.
I take this issue very seriously. I always say at the doors to people, I say, look, you can have a beautiful home with a beautiful car, a very nice car, lots of money, but if you don't feel safe sitting in your own home, what's that worth? Nothing. Gun crime is up 116%, unfortunately, in our country in the last 10 years, and I believe we should punish criminals and not law-abiding, responsible, gun-owning Canadians. We need to end the catch-and-release system that the Liberal government has imposed and introduce strict punishment for those caught with illegal firearms and those wielding illegal firearms in our streets, risking the lives of our families. The Conservative Party will introduce a 3 strikes and you're out system, which will, for those individuals caught with firearms on 3 or more occasions, anywhere from a 10-year up to a life sentence in prison to keep them away from our families so that they can be safe. Thank you.
I think we got everyone. Well, that was quite a round of questions. Please give the candidates another round of applause. And I think we're at this point where we're going to ask the candidates for their wrap-up and concluding statements. And I know some of you might have some questions. Candidates, are you, any of you able to stick around later for those who might want to chat with you and meet you? Yes, they will. And so you'll be able to have a chance to ask individual questions. So we'll start with Anne-Marie concluding. And let me just say, for the concluding questions, if you just keep your comments to about 30 seconds, that will give 4 minutes and then give time for wrap up.
How long?
30 seconds. Thank you for asking. And really, I was right, this time it is 30 seconds. I was.
I'll start. I'm a physician moving into politics because I am deeply concerned about our future. We can't fix the climate emergency with half measures. We need a rapid response from all levels of government. We cannot solve the many complex problems we face without giving every Canadian the strength and resilience to take action. I keep hearing that we cannot afford to vote green in Guelph. I say we can't afford not to. A green vote is a vote from a place of hope, not fear. We can have that hope when we put the right leader in the right place at the right time, and that time is now.
That was about 40 seconds. So I will give everybody else 40 seconds and they can finish. There we go.
Okay, I'd like you to know that I've been in this journey right from the beginning, from the truckers' convoy. I was there all through it all. And real freedom is not Trudeau's tyranny or Pollier's empty words. Parental rights, not radical gender ideology fed to our children. And an end to abortion and MAID, not death masking as compassion. Secure the borders, not open door chaos. Sovereignty in Canada, not a post-nation. Our economy, not the UN's climate cult. A full stop to net zero and a clean break, the Paris Accords. And the Conservative led the charge to pass Bill C-4, unanimous consent. They claim they had no choice. That's a lie. Every MP had a choice, and they stayed silent. Sorry, Janice.
Ultimately, my closing remark would have to touch on apathy. Because I believe as Canadians we feel worn down, we feel tired, we feel exhausted, and sometimes we don't want to fight. But we have to. We have to unite, right and left, authoritarian and libertarian, because ultimately I want our country to succeed. I want unity, I want us to come together, because I love every single Canadian, and that's not an empty statement.
Amen.
When I was a kid, I used to love standing up for O Canada. I still do, and I believe that's something that is important, that we all need to hold true. We need to come together, and that's all I have to say.
We need serious, strong leadership in Canada and in Guelph. We know the next Prime Minister will be Mark Carney or Pierre Poilievre. We can't assume the outcome. Every vote in every riding matters to give Mark Carney a strong mandate. And I have the type of experience Guelph needs. I'll fight for Canada and for you. I'll protect federal programs you rely on for affordability like childcare. Together we'll build a stronger, more sustainable Guelph and Canada that includes everyone. I'm asking you to vote O'Rourke for experience, for Team Carney, for Guelph, and for Canada. Vive le Canada, never 51st.
I think we need real change in this country. And of course, I've spoken about crime, but I also want to share with you the fact that our GDP has grown 1.4% in the last 10 years, where the US has grown by 18.2%. So what does this mean? This means we have a 2025 population, 2025 problems, with a 2015 bank balance and 2015 finances. So how do you make those two things work together? You don't. And that's why we see the state that we're in today. So we need real change. I hope you'll vote for Gervais Kara on April 28th or before. And I believe I, along with the Conservative Party and Pierre Poilievre, will deliver that real change, and you will notice the difference. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guelph is a vibrant city with diverse voices. It's critical that everyone feels heard and represented. My commitment to active listening will ensure that your concerns are not just acknowledged, but a priority. I'm committed to tackling the affordability crisis and advancing peace, security, and human rights. I will support economic growth and innovation, creating good green jobs. I bring experience, passion, and strong track record of community engagement. We can build a brighter future for Guelph that emphasizes community, sustainability, equality, and opportunity for all. I humbly ask for your support. I look forward to the possibility of serving you as Member of Parliament. Thank you.
Just a couple of announcements before I let Marva close us down. On behalf of the Guelph-Wellington Coalition of Social Justice, we want to thank, look at this room, it was packed, we pulled out all the chairs they have in the hall. It's by far our largest yet, and with everybody here, thank you for being here. Thank you for showing everybody it's important. Thank you to everyone for attending on our panel and our candidates.
And who are you?
I'm nobody. I'm Mark. So I want to thank all our table volunteers and all the candidates' teams that are here. They're doing all the work behind the scenes. They don't get any of the limelight. I want to thank everybody who submitted questions. We had some, for the first time ever, some came in ahead of time when we said you can email it in. So thank you. Thanks for your donations. That helps us pay for the halls and goes into all our programs. The Guelph-Wellington Coalition is key, with 3 downtown meals a month on average to the bench or to the Royal City Mission. So if it's not spent on workshops, it's spent helping out where we can and where we're needed. My timers and working with the mics and Cameron, who had to go on and try to figure it all out, it's greatly appreciated. And one more little thing we just found out. If I could have the Raging Grannies up. Marva spent her birthday here with all of us.
Please join us singing Happy Birthday to Mark.
Good night, everybody.
Okay, everyone, I just want you to give one more round of applause for our candidates. They did a fantastic job. You did great. You did great to you as well, and to our candidates. Don't forget to vote. And as you're going out, the Arts Everywhere Festival takes place May 2nd. Please pick up a flyer. It looks like this. And most of the events are free except for Friday night, and they're going to talk about AI. And one of our candidates, I think Dominic, mentioned AI, and you're going to want to hear about it. So thank you all so much, the coalition, and have a safe trip home. Don't forget to vote. And the candidates are here if you have any questions. Take their information, contact their office, volunteer, donate, help our democracy. Thank you. Have a good night.
What's your name?